right, we're live. And this is a special time before the notification goes out. So, hi, replay viewers. You're the only ones that get to see this part. Ooh, hello. Okay, and here we are. So now I'm going to go over to the channel itself and monitor the live chat. Good evening, everyone. MJ here, and we are back in Taiwan. We're down in Kaohsiung, my favorite city. Well, Kaohsiung and Tainan, actually, but we were down here for the typhoon, and it wasn't too bad. We didn't really get inconvenienced, but a couple of my friends did driving back. Wow. My friend Danny, boy, not Danny, but my friend Danny, boy, oh boy, driving on the highway, ran into some debris. It was pretty bad, but you know what I think is interesting? I really like how the Pocket 3 looks on this live stream. It looks fantastic. It's really quite amazing. And now we have the trees kind of overgrowing, which is something that we didn't have before. This is hang on a second. This is all messages. Okay, and make sure, because we have two folks connected and no messages yet. That's cool. So I tried live streaming with the Pocket 3 a couple of times in Japan, and I was unable to use the DJI mic. Now this is something that you may need to know if you are a live streamer and you use the Pocket 3 like I do. Certain places are geo-locked, and I'm not allowed to use 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi to connect the camera to the Mimo app. Excuse me, which is significant because the problem is that means you can't, you can only use 2.5 gigahertz, which means you're on the same band as the wireless mic, and it kicks you off the app, so you can't use it. You can't live stream. So when I got back to Taiwan, I had to connect the Pocket 3 to the DJI Mimo app without the wireless mic, so it would connect. And then my phone GPS updated the Pocket 3's location, and it even said updating location configuration, device may disconnect. And the reason they say that is because I didn't really see that. I didn't notice that when it said it. It must have said it in Japan, because if I go back to Japan, then it'll say it's, you know, reconfiguring for location, device may disconnect, and it certainly did. So anyway, I'm on the DJI Mic 2, connected directly to the Pocket 3 with Bluetooth. Yeah, so, you know, we were just in Japan. We came back, had a great time with our long family friend, Dave in Osaka. Fantastic. I actually recorded him on the Pocket 3 walking around. We had like a rock star, you know, kind of moment, because Dave took us through Gion. That's the place where he's been live streaming Gion for years now, you know. And we even saw a geisha because we followed his advice and went to, you know, the places that he took us. But I want to show everybody, I got a Fujifilm camera, man, the X-S20. Yeah, cool, that's lens cap on there. But what a beautiful camera, and it takes amazing shots. Fuji magic is real, and the cinematic capability of this camera is well known. It's one of the reasons I got it, but the photographs are amazing out of it. And what's really cool is, you know, like most cameras nowadays, there's an app, you know, you can use it to aim the camera and fire it and so forth. You can also download, you know, photos from it. And so our thumbnail this evening is Fuji Magic. I didn't take the thumbnail with my phone, I took it with the Fuji. And man, what a difference. And Fuji's film simulations are legendary. They really are. So we drove down here, drove our new car, the Skoda Kodiaq, and boy, oh boy, it was nice. Really a great pleasure driving that car down here. You know, driving on the highway with the traffic management and so forth, and the adaptive cruise control and everything else is just wow. Cars nowadays are just amazing. So what, you hear me doing something in the background. I'm taking out my Ulanzi tripod and the MT44 because it has a mobile phone holder on it, and I'm going to use it to hold the phone so I don't have to hold it. I can just look at it to see if and when any of your comments come in. Doesn't look like any comments are coming in right now, but that's okay. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to turn it around. Let me see. Should be this way. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and this is the only time I approve of portrait mode, is when I'm holding the phone this way, so I can look at your chat messages. So, all right, we can pan around a bit. If we look to our left, we can kind of look. This is actually a canal. We'll look up the canal, and that's a very large road up there called Zhonghua Wu Lu, which means Zhonghua Fifth Road. Zhonghua is a word that's used to describe things that are Chinese. So it's kind of saying like Chinese Fifth Road. It's kind of funny. And across the street is a big parking garage. I decided to start the Pocket 3 in this mode, in normal mode instead of zoom mode. One of the firmware, the most recent firmware update, gave us a new type of zoom where we weren't zooming in on the video stream, we were actually zooming in on the sensor itself, so it gave us way better zoom. But this is digital zoom. I'm just going to zoom in on this a little bit. Digital zoom. And that's what it looks like. And when you're live streaming, I'm live streaming in 720p. I think the camera's in 1080 when I do this. But let me go back to pan mode. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like from left to right. And I'm going to go over here to the left side. And that's part of the city there. It's kind of cloudy tonight. Usually you can see airplanes, you know, because the Kaohsiung airport's very close. And I'm panning this manually using the joystick, and this is just the speed that I have the joystick set at, so it's a little bit fast for this kind of stuff, but it's a really interesting parking lot and garage because there's like a spiral arrangement, you know, with the ramps, and up on top there's supposedly some kind of art museum. I never went over there, but and then we go over this way, and there's more of the building. You can't see it now, but on the other side of this building is the Dream Mall. And that building in the distance, the very little corner of that you see in the distance is the Dream Mall. But what I like about the Pocket 3, this is not set on night mode. This is set on just normal mode, you know? And look how cool. I mean, look how nice the nighttime performance is on this thing. It's really quite something. That's a very impressive camera. And yeah. So I didn't get the Fuji to replace this because this thing destroys almost everything when it comes to stuff like vlogging, simple little, you know, like walk around kind of videos, you know, something you want to do. Like we went to Universal in Japan, you know, Universal Studios Japan, and boy, oh boy, wow, what a difference. I mean, just walking around with this thing compared to a larger camera. Now, I did do a little bit of a video with the the Fuji, but it's a lot bigger, and when you're walking around with it, it's a lot more conspicuous, and people aren't, you know, always so happy seeing you film. But With the Pocket 3, it's so small, and you can even clip it on your, your bag, your backpack strap, whatever. I've even stuck it in my pocket and just let the head, the top of it, the camera stick out of the top of my pocket facing forward, and it's just recording and nobody even knows, and it's so smooth. Crazy. But let me do this just for a second. I'll turn around and say hi to everybody. How's it going? Okay. Face track is enabled, so I can just do this. Wasn't planning on doing too much on-camera stuff tonight, but we're having a good time down here. Some mosquitoes out, not too bad. But I think what I'm going to do is do this, because in my bag, these are really popular at this time of year, by the way. Gatsby is a company we have in Taiwan, and I think they're in other countries too, but this is they call this like a deodorant wipe, but it's actually, it's got citrus flavor in it, but it's actually menthol. This is a cooling wipe, and it's not that it actually does lower your skin temperature. I guess there's some claim that it does a little bit, but it's not that. It's that the menthol and so forth, and I guess alcohol or whatever it is, that, is evaporating on your skin, makes you feel cooler. But the side benefit of this, mosquitoes hate this. Mosquitoes do not like this menthol stuff. So you put it on at night, and it's like a kind of an anti-mosquito thing. But when it's hot like this, and it is hot, it's very hot here now. It's about 33 C, and we're looking at like 75-80% humidity. So the point is that the cooling aspect is absolutely welcome, but I'd rather have the side benefit of no mosquitoes. So going back to the river, and I like how it kind of changes. It flips around. I'm going to watch that on a live stream, see how that does. That's funny. Actually, I've never watched it flip on the live stream, so we're about 5 seconds or so behind. Yeah, there you go. I think we're 15 seconds or so behind. So if you guys want to do a latency test, we can do that. But I need some people to be watching and to be active in the comments. Now, I don't have the Pro Mist filter on. This is just the Pocket 3, just the way it is, without the Pro Mist filter. Now, there's somebody coming up the walkway here. And, okay, they're turning off. I was going to say, if they're going to come up close to me, I'm going to be quiet. You can be, the kind of person that talks to yourself and mutters to yourself and walks around and does whatever. In Taiwan, nobody will bother you, but I just don't want to be that person. People think you're talking to yourself. It's funny. I'll never forget, because I went to Taiwan once before I lived here in 2002. I was doing business, and I came here in 2002, and I bought a bunch of stuff, went back to the States, and one of the things I bought was a T68 Sony Ericsson phone. The world's first color screen phone, and of course it's, the screen is about as big as a postage stamp. But it had a Bluetooth headset, and it was really cool. Now, that phone was so sophisticated. I wish I had the Sony Ericsson T68 Bluetooth technology now, because I could be driving down the road, press a button on the side of the thing and say, call Steve, and it would prompt me, mobile or home, or whatever I had, mobile or office, whatever I had under that contact. And then you would just say office, and it would ring. And you could record keywords like answer or hang up. And I even did it in Chinese, which is cool. But I'll never forget, I was 2 occasions. I was walking in Walmart with the Bluetooth headset on, walking around, and a guy stopped me. He goes, "Hey, stop, sir." I know, they do, don't they? Sir, stop a second. I said, yeah, what's up? He says, is that a Bluetooth headset? I said, yes, it is. And I turned my head to the side, and he was like, it's pretty cool. He's examining us. Yeah, I took it off my ears. That's what it looks like. It's cool. They do, because feature phones in general are making a comeback. You know, there are many times when I wish I had a dumb phone. I'm tired of being bothered by it, you know. And one thing that I meant to mention when I was talking with Dave on our live stream, we were talking about live streaming technology. I had on my notes. I did mention this actually about the mobile internet device that Intel came out with before smartphones became popular. And sometimes I wish I had a mid like that. It just wasn't a phone. Of course, the equivalent would be a tablet, but tablets are pretty big, you know. This was actually smaller, had a bigger battery, but yeah, I agree, man. And you know, I'm going to tell you, if that T68 was available today, I can't say that I would use it to replace my phone, but I would be inclined to use it, you know, as a phone, because you can still use your smartphone. I mean, you could take the SIM card out, or you can erase the eSIM and just use it as a pocket computer. Of course, you would need a you know, a SIM card to use mobile internet, but SIM cards are cheap. Sony Ericsson does need to come back, and it reminds me of, I'm going to tell you about the second thing I meant. It reminds me too of a phone that I had before. I've had several. I went to Thailand, and I think in upgraded versions, yeah, of course. But you know how cool the T68 was. I mean, it was the best phone I think I've ever had as far as what it did. It did so well, you know. This is Kaohsiung, Taiwan. This is the large metropolitan city, the second largest metropolitan city in the country, but it's the large metropolitan city in South Taiwan, where we just had a typhoon. It's threatening to rain, but it's not going to. I'm on a canal, and to my right is the ocean. To my right, you know, camera right would be west, and of course the left would be east. So the camera is basically facing south-southeast. Bunch of ships out there too. If you look up Kaohsiung Harbor and look at it on Google Earth, it's like huge, busy, ships permanently anchored out there and stuff, a big mooring, buoys, and down further is it's a large container farm down there, and all the cranes, you know, and the necessary equipment for loading and unloading container ships. But yeah, I know what you mean. But I had this phone, and I went to oh man, you need to go. It's amazing. And I'll tell you what, if you go here, there's a bar called Oxford, and in Chinese, you know, that's Niu Jin, and they treat me like family. Ask for Luca. She's the boss lady, and her boyfriend's Alex. Great people, and they treat me like family. It's amazing. I was actually supposed to go back home. I live in Hsinchu, up north, about 3.5 hours north, but no, we're gonna go tomorrow. We drove our car down here, so. But when I went to Thailand, I had this phone, and see that for years, I mean, as soon as like the T68 came out, you know, when it's like 2002, there was a Snap-on camera module, which I did not have, but I had the Snap-on keyboard module. That was cool, being able to snap a physical keyboard onto the phone. You know, I used to carry it in my bag. We sent SMS messages because there were no apps back then. But yeah, I was like typing. I was like, pretty cool, right? But the phone I had before that, excuse me, the phone I had after that, why did I think before? Because the T68 did wear out I actually broke the case. I got another case. The boss gave me an original case, and you know, I'm an engineer, and I do have the appropriate license in the United States to operate it, you know, to repair mobile devices. So I swapped out the case, and it eventually just bit the dust. But the second phone I had a camera in the front, in addition to camera in the back. And I went to Thailand, and I was showing it to people, like, oh, I never saw a phone like that with a camera in the front. What's it for? And I was telling them, well, the Taiwan mobile phone system natively supports video. And so you would just use the Sony Ericsson phone, and you would just, when you make a call, you had a selection of video call, as you know, like from on your SIM card. It's pretty crazy. There is, yes, and yeah, it is amazing. We had a section too, over where my wife's parents used to live, that was part of a military village. It's all been razed to the ground, but I walked through there, a bunch of old abandoned buildings and stuff. But some of that stuff you're talking about, the industrial part, if it's down on the island or if it's over by the ports, it's a restricted area. You can't get access to it, drive up, and there's a gate. Cool. Yeah, hope you head back. Well, be sure and send me a message on the community and let me know, you know. And there's a lot to Taiwan. My neighborhood's amazing, and those of you who've been following me for a long time, you know, that it's like it's mostly Thai, Vietnamese, Filipino, Indonesian, and all the food and stuff that goes on there, and the music and things. We have all kinds of nights where we're just barbecuing on the side of the road and having a blast. But Taiwan's a place you can do anything that you want, you know. No open container laws. I live streamed from my, but I don't want to discourage you. I mean, just drive over there and see what it is. But it has to be, though, because it's, you know, it's a port area, right? And they have to protect that. So they have to protect people's outgoing products and incoming. It has to make sure that, you know, goes through all the proper channels and regulations. I'm an exporter, so, you know, I deal with that too. But the second time was when I had my 268 and that beautiful Bluetooth headset that worked so well. I mean, somebody would, you know, the phone would ring and I would go answer, or the phone would ring and I would go reject and it would hang up. It was pretty crazy. But I was in an ATM and I had my back to the door. Xiao Liu Qiu, yeah. Well, if you look on my channel, in the short, I was going to say, look at my shorts. That's not what I mean. Look at my short videos. I have a sea turtle that I shot with, oh gosh, I got to be careful. There's a sea turtle I photographed with my X4 360 and the dive case, and it's pretty funny. And you hear my wife, because we're snorkeling, you hear my wife going, woo, she's looking at that, you know, it's hilarious, looking at the turtle and going, wow, look at that, you know, but through the snorkel, so it's pretty funny. Beautiful, and as you know, Xiao Liu Qiu probably has the highest. I mean, I've been to Grand Cayman, right? And they release 24,000 green turtles a year, but I only saw a couple. I fed one in Stingray City, and then I saw a couple of their juveniles, and they were scared. But in Xiao Liu Qiu, I mean, I went with some friends, and you know, one of the friends came back. They said they saw something like 40. We saw like 8 in 30 minutes. It's amazing. So. Yeah, Taiwan is really something. I keep telling people that. They just go to Thailand and they go to Japan and they go to these places that they've heard of, and they, you know, can't blame them. Those places are amazing. But Taiwan's really different, you know. It's very inexpensive. It's not much more expensive than Thailand, but it has the upscale quality of Japan, as you know, so it is. Yeah. It's really teeming with. That's a really good way of putting it. It really, really is, and they're lovely too, and they're not too scared. They come up right. They won't bother you, but they'll, you know, like they swam underneath me, right underneath me. I could have touched them if I wanted to. But I got to tell you though about this Bluetooth. So I'm in the ATM and I got my back to the door, and I'm filling out, you know, the paperwork. I think I wanted to do a deposit or something. This is 2021, or no, this is 2022. And after I got the phone, and I hear the, hear the, and the door opens and a lady comes in, and I'm on the phone. And I have my Bluetooth headset on my right ear. And the way that, the A-Team was situated, she came in on my left side. She didn't see any headset. And I'm sitting there talking away, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And it just so happened that like 10 or 15 seconds later, not that long, I was done and I turned around and I looked at her and she was just standing there. She wasn't going to use the machine. She was standing there looking at me with this look on her face. And then she saw the Bluetooth headset and she goes, oh my God. I said, what? What's wrong? She says, I thought you were crazy. I thought you were a crazy person talking to yourself. We both had a good laugh. I was like, but nowadays that wouldn't happen because, nowadays you got earbuds you can't even see, which I guess is kind of a good thing, for crazy people because they can walk down the street and talk to themselves and nobody thinks twice, so. But Lucca and Oxford, sometimes Oxford has, one thing I like about Oxford, there's no smoking, and it's a friendly crowd and interesting people. I met a really interesting man last night, and every time I go there, I meet somebody really interesting. And they treat me, like family. I went there last night. I went to Uncle Bob's over by the Love River, and I had something to eat, not a whole lot, but I had something to eat there. And then we went out, then Alex, Lucca's boyfriend, we went over to Oxford. And when I walked in, I asked Sherry, who works there, is the kitchen closed? And she said, yes. And I said, it's okay. And Lucca comes over to me. I'm sitting down. It is hilarious, man. And she says, hey, MJ, I can make a steak for you. And so she personally went in the kitchen and made a steak. She knows I like steak. Oh, man, it's ribeye. It's like, holy cow, you kidding me? Sauerkraut, man, on the side, and the sauerkraut was fantastic. I had a nice salad with it. I took a picture of it. It was great. But, yeah. And I got a message from her online about a month ago. She said, hey, MJ, I got this rum you like. Who does that? This is a bar owner. It's busy. So, yeah, she actually went and sought out this rum that she knows I like and stocked it in the bar. I'm like, you guys love me. It's pretty cool. What can I say? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, a lot of times now I'm putting earbuds in just because they're noise canceling. I don't want to, it's like wearing earplugs. But yeah, nobody would think twice. Do you remember when the AirPods first came out, though? I was browsing the news, and the AirPods were announced, and some guy had taken like a set of those like round Oral-B toothbrush like heads and stuck them in his ears, and they looked just like the earbuds. I was like, oh man, people are awesome. Crazy stuff. People are awesome. So, Mr. FY, this is what it looks like. Where are you from? And where are you viewing from? Let's take a look at the sky. That's not the moon, that's a leaf, but it looks like the moon. Looking almost straight up here. Yeah, see that? Cool. They do. They really do. And Taiwan people, they want to help, especially if they think you're a visitor. I have to tell people all the time, well, where's the Taiwan occurring? I have to tell them I'm not a visitor, I've been living here for 21 years, and one of the biggest problems that I used to have was I'd go to a place, order a bunch of stuff, and I'd go to leave, and the boss lady would say, hey, so-and-so paid your bill. I was like, wow, but, but there's kind of a thing. It's like I'm just panning around here. The people are, yeah. And that's what I can't emphasize enough is that, yeah, the people are they're so helpful, they're so kind, And the thing about paying, right? It was expressed to me early on when I first started coming here that they want you to keep your money so you can go on to the next place and have money. And as long as you're here, you're a guest and they're gonna treat you, which is cool. But there is a major difference, in my opinion, between Taiwan people and Thailand people, because whenever I get invited out by people here in Taiwan, they take me out. But I've been invited out by so many people in Thailand that expect me to pay. So, wow, fantastic. Yeah, what part of Japan? I just came back from there. I came back on July 2nd. Just last week. Week ago, what, tomorrow? Today? Yeah. So, it was fantastic. We had a great time. When you go back to Taiwan, of course, obviously, you got to get out of Taipei, but I had a friend from Japan come to Taiwan. This is a long time ago, right? The 350. I'm not sure what that one was. I had the C207, I think it was called, which was their first GPS phone, they called it. Had a pretty good camera. And it was the first one with an internet browser. I remember and mobile internet was really expensive back then. My wife's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking at Facebook. She's like, what? You're looking at Facebook on your phone? And the next thing was like, how much does that cost? Like, I don't know. But again, tiny screen. But this lady came to Taiwan, and I took her for a scooter ride, and she was like, stop. I'm like, what? She says, those rice fields. I'm like, yeah. She says, I look at her, she's got like tears in her eyes. She says, I haven't seen green rice fields like that since I was a little kid. I'm like, really? Wow. So buckle up, because there's a whole bunch of them here, and the next 20 minutes we're going to be in rice fields. And you probably noticed how it drops off. Like you're in an urban section, and you take a side road, and 1 minute later it's like, holy cow, there's nothing here. I'm in a rice field. There's a row of houses and a temple or something. It's pretty interesting. I really like that a lot. I like that about Taiwan. And there's a lot of artifacts here too, and now the government is taking them seriously, because I'm working with Rob Kilo on the Map Freaks project, and we're discovering so many new artifacts and things. In fact, I'm going to be shooting some documentary video on, it's a simple thing, but we found a guy wire anchor that's World War II era, and apparently it was used to guy a tower in place that was used by the Japanese military. And there's one building nearby too that hasn't been documented by anyone. And we went over it fairly thoroughly, but we're going to go back and film it. We did a reconnaissance mission, and there are some very odd things about this building. So yeah. Oh, I see, close to Osaka. Oh, cool. Yeah, now you're talking, right? Like the real Japan, complete countryside. Yeah, exactly. Shikoku, not sure where that is. But I will tell you something funny, okay? Because you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We took the Shinkansen, right, from Tokyo to Osaka, right? Osaka. And, I was reading about the trip. I wanted to know, like, am I going to be able to see Mount Fuji, right? So people were saying, and I even used AI, because I use AI a lot. I use it in business and stuff, and I pay for it. But I wanted to know, like, what's the scoop? And everybody says it's about an hour in. Yeah, well, I know. I never saw anybody like that have such a dramatic reaction before, but it reminded me, because there was a movie that came out in the year 2000 called Red Planet, where Val Kilmer's walking, and he says, wait a minute, I haven't seen green fields like this since I was a kid. I was like, wow, that's what that was. It's the same thing. So about an hour or so, south, right? I'm on the Shinkansen, and I got seats on the right side of the train, relative to the direction of travel. We headed south. And I had my little Pocket 3. I put it on the monkey tail. I had it wrapped around the handle, of the seat, pointing out the window, and I would just figure I would just shoot some video and get Mount Fuji if I could get it. Now I'm thinking, since I've never seen it, and I've never seen a picture of Mount Fuji from the train, I was thinking it was, yes, you do have to learn the past. And this is actually an airfield called Hongmao that isn't well documented, but we have documented one of the anti-aircraft bunkers very well, and one of the fire control water towers that still exist. The third anti-aircraft bunker seems to be demoed. So I think somebody demolished it, but we're still looking for it. We think we know where it is. Anyway, so I'm looking out the window, I don't see anything. I'm thinking, based on what people are saying, they're saying things like, well, if the weather isn't good, you might not see the mountain. I'm saying, okay. So in my mind, I'm thinking, and I'm holding my hand at like a, okay, thanks for joining, I appreciate it. I know you got to go. Thanks so much for joining, I appreciate it. And enjoy Japan, it's an amazing place. Got it, understand. Take care, bro, thank you. So I'm thinking Mount Fuji is going to be like about this big, right, off the distance, You see my fingers, it's like, I think it's going to be like, who knows? I'm like, I never saw it before. And I'm looking out the window, I don't see anything, and I'm looking around the train, I'm looking up front, A couple of minutes, I look out the window, and I was like, oh, whoa, I said, what the heck is that? Mount Fuji is huge. It is an absolute monster. I'm thinking, what do you mean you're not going to see it? It dominated the scenery. So I got my phone, and I'm going to not look at the chat for a second. And I'm going to go to my photos, and I'm going to find you this picture of Mount Fuji, right? And you're going to see what I mean. It's like, are you kidding me? This is what, and it's Mount Fuji, and I took the picture with a Fuji camera. Let's see if that's the mountain. It's like, are you kidding me? What, I might not see it because of the weather? What? It would have to be nighttime, completely black or something. Look at that. Yeah, okay, maybe I can't see the white cap, but I gotta tell you, I'm having trouble focusing there. Go back a little bit. Yeah, that's it, man. I'll publish this photo later on the community so you can see it, but it scared me. It's gigantic. I mean, it's only because I wasn't expecting it. And as you see, it's taking up the whole frame of the window on the high-speed rail. That's how big it is. I mean, I'm just showing you on my phone. It's little, but my gosh, when you're looking out the window, you're right next to it. I felt like an idiot. What do you mean I'm not going to see it? And my wife and my daughter, Phoenix, are looking out and going, ooh, wow, look at that. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. But I wish I had a little warning, because I looked at it and it looked like it's going to fall on you. It's so close. What a beautiful mountain. But I should not have been surprised, but I was somewhat surprised how much rural Japan, between the big cities, looks like Taiwan on a high-speed rail. It could have been Taiwan, and people who have been to Taiwan and know Japan say the same thing. Even Dave was saying that. And he took the high-speed rail, and between the cities, like, wow. Some of the topography is very similar. They're both island, nations. And the mountains are island style, they're not mainland style, and there is a difference. And construction is similar in many ways. It's funny, because I knew somebody that came to the United States, and I took them to New Hampshire, and we were driving around in my Jeep. This person says to me, what are these buildings? I'm like, what buildings? He said, well, there's one right there. And there's another one. Those are houses. What? Because they're on huge plots of land. There's usually like a boat or an RV or something in the driveway. But there were small, single-story, standalone homes with, slanted roofs. And in Taiwan, the houses are boxy. They're concrete. They're 3 or 4 stories usually, at least 2 most times. But they do have high rises like this where it's kind of looks like an apartment. It's a flat, but it's still a home. You buy it, you don't rent it, unless you could rent it from the owner. But they're owned. It's not an apartment complex. It's managed by an apartment management company. It's their homes. And so like I live in my house is a concrete box. It's what we would call a townhouse. It's got 4 floors, but a townhouse, the word townhouse has a much more upscale connotation than what my house is. It's just a 4th floor house, but it's in a row where I have a common wall with my neighbor, but I'm on the end, so I have windows on that side, But this person didn't have the slightest inclination that those were houses, which is amazing. But kind of the same thing happens when you come to Taiwan. You're flying over Taiwan and, getting ready to go to the airport, and you see all these little square boxes. What's that? This can't be all businesses. You're driving around, they're all flat tops. But I like that. And the point is, my wife and I looked at other houses to buy, and I don't want a house with a slanted roof. I want a house with a flat roof because it's a place to barbecue and party and hang out, and you can even sleep up there or do whatever you want. It's great. And so my roof is a big flat roof. I fly my drone from there. I put my telescope up there. Sometimes I'll take my projector and my screen, my fabric screen, and stretch it across the 2 light poles that are up there and show movies. And I sleep up there sometimes, play guitar up there. So yeah, it's great. So other things that they have are called Taiyang Tai, which we call like a sun deck, and because Taiyang means sun in Chinese, and Tai means platform, like Taipei means platform. In the case of Taipei, it means the northern platform. So yeah, it's interesting. But now, of course, I don't even think twice about it. And when I went back to the States, I haven't been really since 2010. I think I told you guys I was in 2018. I went to see Dr. Sears at the Sears Institute for Anti-Aging in Florida for 4 days. Didn't really drive around much. Just went to my hotel, and the hotel was so close. I walked to the institute and back. And then I turned around and came right back. And since 2010, that's the first, 2024 was the first time I'd been to the U.S. and spent any time, and I was visiting my sister, and I got to see my other sister, my brother too. But the thing is it was so weird for me walking around these neighborhoods with these standalone houses, these big lawns and stuff. And I was thinking, wow, I'm so glad I don't have to cut the grass, stuff like that. And I admit, as nice as the places were, I found them boring. Because, in Taiwan, we're so used to convenience, and everything is so close. There's an old saying that in Taiwan, there's a temple every 10 meters, but there's a 7-Eleven every 3 meters. That's just about right. We traveled all over, and we saw one 7-Eleven in the United States the whole time we were there, for a month. Even went up into Canada. Oh, crazy. But we like sometimes late at night to go out and get some snack food. Just walk to the 7-Eleven. And in my neighborhood, there are 2 7-Elevens within a 3-minute walking distance. In opposite directions. I'm right between both of them. It's pretty convenient. But at my sister's house, if you want to go anywhere, it's 15 kilometers. That's like It's like 11 miles or 12 miles, right? It's like, are you kidding? So, you know, if like it says 11 o'clock, hey, let's get some popcorn chicken or something. You know, let's get a little snack food. You know, watch a movie. I gotta borrow my sister's car. I gotta ride for 20 minutes one way. You know, and then it's like, this is crazy, but just how it is. So what you do is you go to the store once a week, or you know, once every 10 days or so, and you buy all your junk food in advance, and you just anticipate what you're going to want. But they did have some pretty interesting liquors, I'll tell you. They had a salt caramel and watermelon bourbon. Oh, I think that was my downfall, because I put on over 8 kg. That's like 16, 17 pounds when I was in the US. It was ridiculous. Putting on 15, 16, 17 pounds, you know, in 4 weeks is nuts. And it took me, still haven't gotten over it. So I've been talking about this for a long time and preparing for it, but now that I'm going back to Hsinchu tomorrow, to where I live, MJ is going on a big fast. And you watch. I intend to drop this weight like a stone, because I don't feel that good. But one thing did happen in Japan. I found at the store, and it's funny because many of the stores, they have, some of the sales ladies have signs in Chinese that say, I speak Chinese. And I walk up to them, and first thing I say is, oh, you speak Chinese? And they look at me like, yes. I said, well, it's very, very convenient. And then they're like, what? It's like, who are you? It's like, so they're mostly Taiwan ladies, which is cool. So I met a Taiwan lady from Taichung, and I told her I was from Hukou. I was like, wow. I bought some hair wax. And I was looking for hair wax, got her to help me find that stuff. But I went to one store, and they had one of those mini impact massage tools. You guys are seeing these. Some of these massage tools, they're like a power tool. It's like you're trying to knock a hole in a wall. I don't want that. This thing is tiny. It fits in your hand, and it has an assortment of attachments, you know, but it's also got this cool handle that you can slip the device into, and it can hook around, and you can reach behind your back and, you know, get your lower back or between your shoulder blades. So like, all right, so it's pretty cool. But I've been using it on the bottom of my feet because I forget what it's called. I should know this, as technical as I am about other things. I have bone spurs in both heels, and they cause the tissue on the bottom of my foot to not be, what's that, a plantar fascia or something like that? Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. It causes it to not be flexible. And when I was in Japan, I walked a lot. I was walking 11,000 steps, 12,000 steps a day. I remember, like at Universal, I walked 10 kilometers that day. Subsequently, I walked around 15 kilometers, walking around Osaka and other places. It was great, but my feet were killing me. So at night, I spent 30 minutes. I left my socks on and just used that thing and just beat the crap out of the bottom of my foot with this thing, right? And it worked wonders. It's done something to the flexibility. And now I don't have any foot pain. And the other thing I did was because I wear these Skechers. I like Skechers because I like the way the insoles feel. So I went to the Skechers shop, and I got the largest size that they have and the widest. And suddenly, my feet don't feel like they're squished. And it's like, oh no, this is, yeah. But oh no, I got to find these in Taiwan now. Probably a special order. So yeah, I'm walking around now with a spring in my step that I haven't had for a long time, and that was good. So I'm keeping that up. I'm keeping the walking exercise up. When I get back to Hsinchu, I'm going over there where the bunkers are, where the T-trails are. And that's also where that that guy anchor is. I'm going to do some filming over there, but when I'm done, I'm putting my backpack on. And I put my drone in there, or I put my camera in there, or whatever, and it's a little bit of weight, and it's actually a very good exercise. And it's also a cool place to hang out at night. Last time I was there was the week before I left, and a guy had a Jeep, and he had like a whole bunch of stuff deployed. He had his, cooler and tables and chairs out there. But I brought my guitar rig because I have a power station, a battery pack. And I brought 3 guitars out there, and I spent about 2 hours tweaking the tones and the IRs in my digital rig, and boy, what a difference it makes. I played a gig 2 days before I left for Japan using that rig, and it sounded so great. But I'm going to be going down there and spending the night and walking around and getting this exercise and using that little massage tool on the bottom of my feet. And I anticipate that it's going to help me exercise and lose this weight. So we'll see what happens. I have more material for the Jacked at 70 channel, which is what I'm looking to do. So that's the goal. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sign off and say thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it. Thank you for the comments. Mr. FY, thank you. Nice to meet you. I'll be on later in the week, and hopefully I'll be broadcasting from out in the trails if the weather is not so bad when I get back to Hsinchu County. So you guys take care. And let me go back to the Mimo app and make sure that we're connected here, and then we're going to yeah, there you go. So we're going to end the live stream, and I want to thank everybody for joining, and we'll see you next time on The Real Taiwan. Thank you so much for joining. 再见 and 晚安. Bye-bye.